For thousands of years, your womb has been the primary target of religious control, not your mind, not your soul. Your womb, because the people who wrote the rules understood something fundamental. If they could control your relationship to your own body, if they could install shame where pleasure should live, if they could convince you that your womb belonged to God, to your father, to your future husband, to anyone except you, they could control everything. Tomorrow at dawn, the moon wanes through Sagittarius, the sign of truth, philosophy, belief systems, and the parts of you that refuse to be caged. And I need you to understand something. This isn't just another lunar transit. This is a purge, a burning, a systematic deletion of every lie your womb has been carrying about what it means to be good, to be pure, to be worthy of love. And if you've been feeling this rage building over the past few days, this absolute intolerance for the rules you've been following without questioning them, stay with me on this one. There's a very specific reason that's happening, and I'm going to break down the entire truth protocol later in this video. But first, there's something I think you need to see clearly. The religious programming in your womb isn't ancient history. It's active code running right now. Every time you feel shame about your desires, every time you question if you're too sexual, too wild, too much, every time you perform purity to prove you're worthy, that's not you, that's the program. And tomorrow, the Sagittarius moon says it burns. The lies started before you were born, and you didn't even know you were infected. So here's what most women don't realize, and honestly, this was a massive awakening for me when I started understanding how deep the religious programming goes. Your womb has been a battleground for thousands of years, not metaphorically, literally. Every major religion on earth has created elaborate systems to control female sexuality, female fertility, female autonomy, and they did it through one primary weapon: shame. Think about it. The story of Eve, the first woman's crime, wasn't murder or theft. It was knowledge. It was wanting to know. And her punishment? Pain in childbirth, subjugation to man. The message was clear from the beginning. Your womb is cursed. Your body is the gateway to sin. Your natural desires are the enemy of the divine. And if you want salvation, you need to suppress everything that makes you female. That's not theology, that's programming. And it's been running in your bloodline for so long you think it's truth. You think the shame you feel about your sexuality is natural. You think the guilt about your pleasure is spiritual discernment. You think the fear of your own wildness is wisdom. But it's not. It's code. It's a virus installed in your womb to keep you compliant, controlled, and convinced that your body is the problem. Have you noticed how every religious tradition has rules about the female body? What you can wear, when you can speak, who can touch you, whether you're clean or unclean based on your menstrual cycle, how you need to cover yourself because your body causes men to sin. All of it, every single rule, is designed to teach you one thing. Your womb is not yours. It belongs to the system, and the system decides what happens to it. Tomorrow's waning Sagittarius moon is offering you something radical, the chance to see the programming for what it is, not divine truth, human control. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once your womb recognizes the cage, it starts burning the bars. Artemis never bowed, and your womb remembers. Let me tell you about Artemis, not the sanitized version, the real goddess. Artemis was called a virgin, but virgin didn't mean what you think it means. It didn't mean sexually pure or untouched by man. In the ancient world, virgin meant one in herself, a woman who belonged to no man, who answered to no father, no husband, no god, who demanded submission. Artemis was sovereign, wild, free. She lived in the forest with her huntresses. She killed men who violated women. She chose her lovers if she wanted them, and abandoned them when she was done. And she protected women in childbirth, not because motherhood was sacred duty, but because a woman's body was hers to use as she chose. That's the energy entering your womb tomorrow, not the performance of purity, the reality of sovereignty, not virginity as sexual inexperience, virginity as belonging to yourself. And here's what's critical to understand about Artemis. She wasn't peaceful about her freedom. She was violent about it. When Actaeon stumbled upon her bathing and saw her naked body without permission, she didn't forgive him. She didn't educate him. She turned him into a stag and set his own hounds on him. The message was clear: my body is not your property, and violation has consequences. Tomorrow, the Sagittarius moon is activating that Artemis frequency in your womb, the part of you that knows you were never meant to be domesticated, that your wildness isn't something to tame, that your sexuality isn't something to apologize for, that your body belongs to you, and anyone who tries to claim it without your absolute consent is the enemy. Does that feel extreme? Good. That means the programming is starting to crack. What's actually happening astrologically, and why truth becomes fire. So let me break down what's happening tomorrow, because the timing of this is almost too perfect. The moon is in its waning crescent phase, about 30% illumination. This is the final purge before the new moon, the last chance to bleed out what doesn't serve you before the reset. And it's happening in Sagittarius at approximately 24 degrees, which is the part of Sagittarius that rules philosophical truth, higher education, and the breakdown of dogma. Sagittarius is a fire sign. It doesn't dissolve like Pisces. It doesn't build like Capricorn. It burns, it illuminates, it forces you to see what you've been avoiding. And when the waning moon moves through here, it's not a gentle release. It's a forced evacuation. Every belief you've been holding that contradicts your body's truth gets incinerated. But here's what makes this even more intense. We're still in the Saturn in Aries energy. Saturn just entered Aries 6 days ago, activating discipline and boundaries around the self. And Venus is still in Pisces, dissolving your resistance to receiving pleasure. So you have this perfect storm. Venus saying your womb deserves pleasure, Saturn saying your womb deserves protection, and tomorrow's Sagittarius moon saying burn every belief that says otherwise. The lies that are ready to burn aren't abstract, they're specific. Good girls don't want sex. Your body is a temple for your future husband. Modesty is a virtue. Your menstrual blood is unclean. Pleasure is selfish. Virginity is your value. These aren't truths, these are chains. And Sagittarius is the archer, the one who shoots the arrow that breaks the lock. Sagittarius, you're the arrow that breaks your own cage, and it's going to hurt. If you're a Sagittarius, sun, moon, or rising, I need you to really hear this. Tomorrow's waning moon is in your sign, in your first house. If you're a rising, and that means this purge is happening through your identity itself. You are the fire, you are the truth, you are the one who burns the lies, not just for yourself, but for everyone watching. Here's what I think has been true for you your whole life. You've always felt too much, too honest, too unwilling to play the game. And the religious or cultural programming around you probably tried to shame that out of you. They told you to be more diplomatic, more tactful, more willing to keep quiet when something felt wrong. And maybe you tried. Maybe you spent years trying to soften your truth, trying to make your fire more acceptable, trying to be the version of yourself that wouldn't offend anyone. Tomorrow, that experiment ends permanently. The waning moon in your sign is going to make it physically impossible for you to keep lying, not lying to others, lying to yourself. Every time you've pretended something was okay when it violated your body's truth, every time you've performed belief in something you actually question, every time you've stayed in a system, a relationship, a job, a religious community that required you to betray your womb's knowing, all of it comes up tomorrow, and it's going to feel like vomiting. The specific prediction I'm seeing for you is this. Between tomorrow and the new moon on February 12th, you're going to say something you've been afraid to say your whole life. Maybe it's to your family, about the religion you don't believe in anymore. Maybe it's to your partner, about the sexual shame you're done carrying. Maybe it's to yourself about the life you've been living that isn't yours. But the truth is going to come out, and it's not going to be polite. And here's what I want you to understand, Sagittarius. The people who've benefited from your silence are going to call this your crisis. They're going to say you're having a breakdown, that you're being influenced by something dark, that you've lost your way. But what's actually happening is you're finding it. You're burning the map they gave you and trusting your own internal compass for the first time. And that compass points toward freedom, toward truth, toward a life where your womb belongs to you and no one else. The danger for you is trying to explain yourself, trying to make your liberation make sense to people who are still in the cage. You can't. Fire doesn't apologize for burning, it just burns. Let them call you wild. Let them call you too much. Let them call you lost. You're not lost. You're free. And freedom looks like chaos to people who worship control. Aries, the religious armor comes off and your naked rage is sacred. Now, Aries, sun, moon, or rising, your experience of this Sagittarius moon is hitting your ninth house, the house of religion, philosophy, higher education, and belief systems. And when a waning moon moves through here, especially in Sagittarius, I genuinely believe you're about to reject a spiritual framework you've been operating under for years, maybe your whole life. Here's what I think has been happening for you. You've been trying to be spiritual, trying to be evolved, trying to transcend your anger, your rage, your natural warrior instinct, and the religious or spiritual programming told you that's what enlightenment looks like. Rising above, transcending the body, becoming so peaceful that nothing disturbs you. And maybe you've been working toward that, meditating, affirming, trying to love and light your way out of your very real, very justified rage. Tomorrow, that spiritual bypassing dies. The waning Sagittarius moon in your ninth house says your rage is sacred, your anger is information, your body's violent response to violation isn't something to transcend, it's something to trust. And the belief system that told you otherwise, that taught you to smile when you want to scream, to forgive when you want to fight, to be the bigger person when someone deserves consequences, that entire framework gets exposed as a tool of control. The ninth house also rules your personal philosophy and what you believe about the divine. And I'm seeing situations where you realize the God you've been praying to, the higher power you've been surrendering to, was designed by men to keep women compliant. That the qualities you've been taught are spiritual, submission, obedience, selflessness, are actually just feminine subjugation, rebranded as enlightenment. Between tomorrow and the new moon, you're going to feel this pull to fight something. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's an institution, maybe it's a belief you've been carrying, and your first instinct might be to suppress it, to remind yourself you're working on being less reactive, less aggressive, less Aries. But that suppression is the program. The truth is your body knows when it's being lied to, and rage is how it tells you. My advice for you, Aries, tomorrow when the anger comes, don't spiritualize it away. Don't journal it into something more palatable. Don't turn it into a lesson about compassion. Just feel it. Let your womb rage. Let your body scream. Let yourself be as violent in your truth as you need to be. Not physically violent, but energetically, emotionally, philosophically violent, willing to destroy the belief systems that require your silence. That's not darkness, that's your womb burning the lies, and fire is sacred. Leo, your womb becomes the truth that others can't handle, and that's their problem. Okay, Leo, sun, moon, or rising, the Sagittarius moon is hitting your fifth house, the house of creative self-expression, pleasure, romance, and authentic joy. And when a waning moon moves through here in Sagittarius, I believe you're about to purge the performance version of yourself and express something so raw, so true, so unapologetically you, that some people won't be able to handle it. Here's what I think you've been doing, maybe without realizing it. You've been performing your brightness, performing your confidence, performing your joy. Because Leo is supposed to be the sun, right? You're supposed to shine. You're supposed to be warm and generous and radiant, and maybe you are those things, but maybe you've also been hiding the parts of you that aren't palatable, the rage, the grief, the sexuality that's too intense, the truth that's too sharp, because those parts don't fit the image. Tomorrow, the waning Sagittarius moon says fuck the image. The fifth house rules authentic creative expression, not curated, not performed. The raw material of who you are before you edit it for consumption. And Sagittarius doesn't edit. Sagittarius speaks truth even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs you approval, even when it makes people turn away. The specific prediction I'm seeing for you is this: you're going to create something or say something that reveals the parts of you you've been hiding. Maybe it's art that's darker than your usual aesthetic. Maybe it's a conversation where you finally tell someone what you really think instead of what they want to hear. Maybe it's a sexual desire you admit to that doesn't fit the good girl narrative. But whatever it is, it's going to feel exposing. It's going to feel like too much. And that's how you'll know it's true. The fifth house also rules romance and pleasure. And I'm seeing situations where you realize the person you've been performing for, the person you've been dimming yourself to keep comfortable, doesn't actually deserve access to your full light, that you've been making yourself smaller in relationship. And tomorrow's moon says either they expand to meet you or you leave. Here's the thing about Leo. You're built for the spotlight, but the religious and cultural programming taught you to shine in acceptable ways, to be bright but not blinding, to be confident but not arrogant, to be sexual but not slutty. All these rules about how to be radiant without threatening anyone, and tomorrow those rules burn. You get to be as much as you are, and the people who can't handle it don't get to dim you. They get to leave. The timeline and what happens at dawn tomorrow. So let's talk about the actual moment when this purge activates. The moon will be waning through Sagittarius all day tomorrow, February 11th. But the most powerful window is at dawn, the moment when darkness shifts to light, when the truth you've been avoiding in the dark becomes undeniable in the daylight. I'd suggest this. Tomorrow morning, before the sun rises, sit with your womb, put your hands there, and ask it directly, what lie am I ready to burn? What truth am I afraid to speak? What part of my wildness have I been caging to keep others comfortable? And then listen, not with your mind, with your body. You'll feel it, a heat, a pressure, a knowing that rises up with the sun. And then over the next 24 hours, pay attention to what wants to be said, what wants to be expressed, what wants to break free. The waning moon is a purge. It's not subtle, it's not optional. Your womb is going to reject the lies whether you're ready or not. The only choice you have is whether you do it consciously or whether it happens to you. By the time the new moon arrives on February 12th, the purge is complete. But what gets deleted in that darkness is determined by what you're willing to burn tomorrow. The belief in your unworthiness, the shame about your desires, the performance of purity, the fear of being too much. All of it can go, but you have to let it. The shadow side. When truth becomes cruelty, now I need to be honest about the shadow of this transit, because the Sagittarius moon can go too far. The same fire that burns lies can burn bridges. The same truth that liberates can wound, and there's a difference between speaking your truth and weaponizing it. Here's what I'm watching for. Women who use this energy to be cruel under the guise of honesty, who say things designed to hurt and call it authenticity, who confuse brutality with bravery. That's not the Artemis frequency. That's the wound pretending to be the cure. The key is intention. Ask yourself before you speak your truth. Is this serving my liberation, or is this serving my revenge? If your truth is about freeing yourself from a cage, speak it. If your truth is about punishing someone for putting you in the cage, pause. Justice and revenge aren't the same thing, and your womb knows the difference. We're all burning the lies, but some women will rebuild, and some will just keep burning. Here's what I find both terrifying and beautiful about this transit. Every woman with a womb is going through some version of this purge tomorrow. Every woman is being asked to look at the religious, cultural, familial programming that's been controlling her sexuality, her autonomy, her wildness, and some are going to use this fire to forge something new, a life built on their own truth, their own rules, their own relationship to the divine that doesn't require their submission. But others are going to just burn. They're going to reject everything, destroy everything, and then stand in the ashes, not knowing what to build. Because burning is easier than building, destruction is easier than creation, and rage without vision just creates more emptiness. The women who thrive after this Sagittarius moon purge aren't the ones who burn the hottest. They're the ones who know what they're burning for. Who can say, I'm destroying this belief because it stands between me and this truth? Who can articulate what they're building in the space the lies occupied? So tomorrow, when the fire comes, when the rage rises, when your womb starts rejecting every lie it's been fed, Ask yourself one question: what am I burning this for? What truth am I making space for? Because purposeless destruction just makes you empty, but destruction in service of your womb's sovereignty, that makes you free. Alright, if you're still here, thank you for being in this purge with me. If this resonated and you want to see more content like this, please subscribe and comment below. What lie is your womb ready to burn tomorrow? What truth are you finally ready to speak? I want to know, because we're all walking through this fire together. Take care of yourself during this purge. Trust your rage, and I'll see you in the next one.